Hello, good night, because it is 1 a.m. where I live. Welcome to another scene set in Death of the Dark Crusade Season 2. It is a lovely, lovely clear night tonight. The stars are shining and the clouds are almost translucent, giving a sort of pretty little kind of relaxing vibe to these skylights. Unfortunate then that you would not be able to see most of them, as we are in the middle of town. Everyone here has been making their way to Elysium, as it has been held earlier than expected, usually held only for 3 days a month. As such, a rather prestigious event to attend, as it is rather infrequent and one of the few times people can relax and feel safe. As each of you approaches the Elysium, or the outside of it, you'll notice some changes. Well, Johanna, you wouldn't notice. But those who have been here before, which would be Gerard and Madeleine, would notice some changes have been made. Madeleine, you'd know these are very recent changes, as these were not here at the last Elysium. There is a marble statue of some sort planted about halfway up the building, up the. There's not really a better word other than to call it more like a castle, but it's not actually a castle. It's closer to some very lustrous, noble-looking tower. Greco-Roman architecture. And there's a marble statue there, one that is exceedingly well crafted. Exceedingly. You would have perhaps encountered a sculpture like this maybe once or twice in your entire life and in life put together. You have done a lot of traveling, so you have seen something like this before, but it is once in a blue moon for you. And it is the image of a small girl and a child resting on a crescent moon. Would you like to make me a perception awareness roll, please, as you approach the Elysium under this statue?
Everyone do that? Or
each person may do it as they approach a statue. You're the first person doing this.
Right, so. Just need to make 100% sure it was right. Yeah, I don't see anything.
No, you feel normal. This these sculptures give kind of a sort of this almost high society vibe, this kind of noble vibe to Elysium, kind of almost emphasizing the
elegance.
The elegance of the building, its grace, and kind of fits in quite nicely with the architecture. It complements the look of this building very well, and you see several other statues like this as well. In fact, not specifically like this one. They are all made of marble. All of them look of incredible quality, like they've taken months, if not years, to make, to craft and design.
As Garland walks past the statue, he had 2 tens. Does he?
You don't have you only have 3 dice. You don't have specialty. Okay. You feel a strange sense of unease. You're not quite sure. how to put your finger on it. It's a sensation you've had before.
Hmm.
It's almost as if you're under some sort of pressure, as if you're almost as if someone is judging you.
Would it be similar to like the effects of presence?
No.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to tell either way, but you just kind of feel uneasy here. You kind of have like kind of that, yeah, sort of chill run down your spine as you walk underneath the statue. You think it's a statue. You see the other statues. You don't get the same vibe. You think. You just feel a little bit nervous, like something's off, but you can't put your finger on what it is.
Okay. Garland would just kind of inspect it for a brief moment, like
It's half out of the building, so you can look at it. You can gaze upon it, but you wouldn't be able to touch it.
yeah. So just briefly, then pass through the threshold.
Yeah. This feeling kind of persists. It doesn't really have a set time limit, or it's not like within an aura or something. You just it's kind of something that you feel a little bit, just something's a little bit off here, but you can't really tell what it is. Just that it is. You entered Elysium, however, just fine, and no one attempts to stop you. The ghouls on station pay deference. There are many within this Elysium. You would estimate at least 24 guards.
Oh my.
It's quite a lot. You think they've pulled in retainers, probably from not just themselves, but probably from the keeper of this place, so you've heard of the keeper of this place. They probably pulled in ghouls from other members of the clan and other primogen. Maybe the sheriff is sponsoring this effort, but you don't know. You just know that there's quite a few ghouls here, or at least they can't be regular people. That'd be a breach of the silence. They're all flush of color and breathing. Though, however, are remarkably polite. There is also, you can see, you smell the waft of vitae in the air. There are refreshments on standby for people. You see some other Canaanites sipping from it. Not as in people, as in actual goblets. You terrible person, shake fist.
Why am I a terrible person? We're playing fucking vampires. There's refreshments standing around.
You ain't Sabat yet. Yes. There are refreshments in the form of actual blood. There are barrels of the stuff behind. There are a few areas, and one of them has like sort of, it's not like a what do you say, like a bar area, but there is a place, like you can tell there's a place where someone is pouring vitae for people, and someone tends to the storage units, as it were.
Should I wait or should I approach? And
You may
roll on this statue?
approach.
Okay.
Please roll self-control upon viewing this statue, as it is an incredibly well-made statue.
Let's do this thing.
It is clearly designed for an artistic purpose and succeeds in that purpose astoundingly.
Here we go, guys.
You succeed. There is that moment where you kind of just look up at the statue, at the sculpture, and you're just kind of staring at it as you walk forward.
I mean, she'll actually stop and admire it for a minute. She doesn't have to, but she will anyway because it's beautiful and she appreciates it, even if she doesn't have to stop and appreciate it till the sun comes up.
You may roll perception awareness.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good.
That's 4 successes. You feel as if you stare at a statue you're being stared back at.
She will make a gesture of respect to the beautifully carved statue. Because it's lovely. Probably has more dots in appearance than she does.
No comment. You don't feel anything as you gesture towards the statue. You merely get this sense as if there are eyes upon you.
Fair enough.
Everyone, just yes.
No, this is not the 1960s. Go away. But yes, you feel as if these two figures are almost gazing upon you.
Very interesting. Okay.
But you may head in after you're done appreciating this fine work of art.
She will enter. She has the nun walk down perfectly, like that soft kind of slippers walk, so that you can walk through the marbled halls without making noise and disturbing prayers.
As you've been no doubt trained.
Yes.
As you walk in, you are witness to, well, there's sort of an entrance area, and there's 2 stairwells that curve upwards. It's not a spiral, it just curves. They're just on the edges of the room, and they curve out and then back in to the 2nd floor, or the 1st floor rather. It is a room of pure white, and there are torches and a chandelier, obviously organized in such a way as to brighten the room, but also organized as to they're in perfect symmetry of each other. And there is a nice ambient glow that comes from all of them. And then you walk into the main room, which has a red drapes hanging off the balconies of the 1st floor. There are these Greco-Roman pillars. There are numerous sitting areas, most of which are draped in bright colors, purple, blue, crimson. And
She
there
will
are
stop again
many
to admire
candles.
the room.
So,
She keeps to the sides of the room, kind of discreet, mostly so that she'll have a chance to stop and admire all the beautiful shit here.
Much like the first room, sorry, the 2nd room has, you would notice as a toreador that everything is aligned perfectly, everything is in its place. Anything that's out of place has clearly been moved by guests. This room is set up to look beautiful and to be accommodating.
Madeline, for herself, will get herself a nice big goblet of blood, and she will walk around and just introduce herself to people around. Once she spots, well, might as well just do it now. Once I will spend a willpower, because once she sees Joanna, she'll just grit her teeth a little bit and she will just walk closely over to me. She said, "Ah, good evening, Anna."
She turns and smiles with genuine warmth. Good evening. How are you this evening? What a lovely place this is.
Elysium is quite the place. It's always good to relax. Always good to rest one's weary legs. Please, come.
She follows if Madeline seems to be encouraging her to go somewhere.
Yeah, she will find a place to sit down. Just, just gesture to a seat and just, please sit down.
And she does. She has not too hard a time taking her eyes off the room to enjoy Sister Madeline instead, because she's at 5 and everything here is pretty much hunky-dory. This is going to be a good night.
So, do you come here on your teacher's request or his suggestion? Or do you come here all by yourself?
I would be very sour with him if he asked me not to come. It's good to be in civilized places. After all of our journeying, I've heard lovely things about this particular place, and it certainly lives up to its rumors.
It has come quite a way since last I saw it, but
Has it?
there has been some changes. But then again, this place is somewhat older. I knew it mostly from quite a while ago.
And was it so well arranged then?
No, it was a bit more simple, I suppose you could say.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it is cleaned up since.
It was not ugly before, but the prince, maybe the keeper or both, they seem to have outdone themselves.
I hope not. I hope there are only more wonders in store as they continue to build upon this success. But how have you been?
I've been well, thank you. And yourself?
Also well. I'm pleased not to be on the road any longer. This is a very nice place to rest.
Not that I had no doubt.
So tell me, who's interesting? And she gestures to the room.
What, just out of character, what recognizable faces are in the room?
Johanna would see would see that which would appear to be a statue in this very room. And then
Wait,
you kind of
I see what?
You see something that appears to be a statue on first sight, something that appears to resemble the marble statue you've seen before of all these exceedingly well-crafted, beautiful figures.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of blends in with the marble whiteness of the building. But you see almost, but upon taking a second to actually look at it, you see it move and elegantly flip through the building. It's almost hard to keep track of.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. She blends in an elegant fashion. It's not it's not chameleon-like. It's not the ever so crass Nosferatu's attempt to hide. It's she almost looks, actually, literally does look like a Snow White princess. Her skin, not the ashen pale you're used to, but a marble white, as is her hair. She complements the. In contrast to this, she wears a. Finally, what would you say? Finely crafted black dress. Has embroidery sewn into it.
And what's her appearance? Do I need to be rolling again?
You absolutely need to roll for this person. This person is literally the most beautiful person you've seen in your life, bar no one.
Excellent. Here we go. I have 1 success.
Again, it's that moment where you almost slip into your reverie. Almost. Your eyes kind of follow her in an unnatural fashion. You can track her perfectly throughout the room. You
So
feel
I don't
the
know.
the tiny sounds her footsteps make. It's very soft.
I don't know how much you caught of that, Madeline, before you DC'd, but as Johanna was asking that question, this person appeared, and her interest was naturally very hooked. She's kind of this person is blending in with the marble walls, so she's a little hard to spot, but Johanna's definitely spotted her.
Yeah. It's almost as if you're able to see her largely because of the black dress, which contrasts with the walls.
Would I recognize this person?
Oh yeah, you met her. She's the Keeper of Elysium.
Mm.
Her, for instance. Who is that?
That is the keeper, if I am not mistaken. Our host, so to say.
Of course.
She is quite divine to look at, I must say.
Yes, she is.
Is it only aesthetic beauty you see in her? I wonder.
She smiles at you without actually taking her eyes off of this other person. I guess we have yet to see. Time will tell.
Well, I must say, you continue to prove my prejudices wrong.
How do you mean?
Well, if you were indeed a cloistered sister, I would have expected you to make that, well, accuse me of a scandalous accusation or suggestion.
Was it
But yet,
scandal you meant?
does she please you in other ways than just aesthetic beauty? People of the cloth would take that as an insult. Of course, they do not see anything other than God's creation and the beauty of it.
So you did mean scandal.
Of course. Yet you do not deny it. There is hope for you yet.
I've had my fill of many of the pleasures of the body.
I've gathered as much. did it mix with your commitment to the marriage with Christ?
Let us say that my marriage to Christ was not the first marriage of convenience in my life, and I have come to love more than one of my husbands.
Quite interesting.
Is it?
Well, to be proven wrong in what one assumes of people is always good. It means that you can still be surprised.
Are you someone who likes surprises?
Most of them.
That's good to know.
I have had my share of quite unwanted surprises, but I managed.
Naturally. So, is there any more you know about her than just that she is responsible for this loveliness?
Out of character, she's a Mitzi.
Oh God, no. She's a Toreador. She's the Toreador Primogen.
All right, I just confused.
You don't have Toreador lore, so you don't know much more about her. You do know that she was invited here by the old Baron. She was the first person invited here by the old Baron to rise to prominence here. The first outsider, quote unquote. She was invited well before the War of Opens began in earnest, as you were around when that happened.
All right.
And that she's had quite a significant role in the peacemaking process.
Fair enough.
Would you like to make a perception empathy roll as you view her?
I would.
Yeah, you may. I'm actually going to say you're so focused on her, you get -1 diff. Madeleine, roll a standard diff. Although you'll both get different information. All right, MA. Wow, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Read 'em and weep.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay, so what's your specialty, both of you?
Truths.
Truths?
Do we get specialties for
Not for
attributes?
only for attributes.
Only for abilities.
Okay.
Attributes we don't have specialties for in this game.
I have no specialties.
Okay, you still get literally 6 successes. Part of me wants to say truth doesn't really apply here because it's more like that's relevant to when people lie. You got 4 10s. I feel horrible for denying you.
No, no problem.
You still get 3 successes. I'll start with Madeleine just because 6 successes, Christ. Madeleine, there is a subtle passion to how she moves that wasn't there before last month. There is a sort of pureness in her emotional state, a sort of almost as if her inhibitions are more relaxed, as if there is more honesty in how she appears in her body language. MA, Johanna, you notice this as well, that there's a sort of, you see her kind of fingers line the pillars as she moves past them. You see her bare feet touch the marble. And there is that Well, you understand that sort of almost reminiscent state. That sort of love for simply being.
Got it. Okay.
That is also older memory to you. However, there is something else you notice. It's almost as if you see this, but it's almost as if her focus is split. It's almost as if she looks like she's somewhere else, or maybe in many places. She appears understanding of where she is, but also not at the same time.
Okay.
Sort of,
Distraction.
yeah. It's the best way you can really put it to yourself is that her focus appears fractured, almost symmetrically.
Interesting. Okay. I got you.
The way she moves is almost like you can almost mimic her. It's almost like some sort of elegant dance in a way. But she appears to be heading in your general direction, but she doesn't appear to have noticed you yet, or doesn't appear to be focusing on you. Her eyes are, you notice, both of you, her eyes are largely shut. She blinks rather slowly.
Johanna, without taking her eyes away, says to Madeline, "Is there anything else I should know? I think I'm about to meet her as soon as possible."
Be careful what you say. She is your premature.
Of course.
Other than that, just be your charming self, and I believe you will be just fine.
Thank you for your advice. You are a true friend. And she's going to slide to her feet and head towards Rosalie.
As you head towards her, your feet are soft, but you swear you see her perked up just ever so slightly, and you see her kind of twirl around. Her dress has this wonderful flourish to it as she twirls, and her arms kind of spin in such a way as if she were a literal princess at court.
Johanna is going to make the same gesture of respect that she made to the statue, and then drop a very low curtsy with all the elegance that is in her, for good reasons, many of them.
There is a look of surprise for a moment as she focuses her eyes on you, and then curtsy back towards you, as she'll say, "Ha, bonne nuit."
What did she say? I'm sorry.
French for good night.
Ah, got it. Sorry. Johanna speaks it. I don't.
Elysium. A pleasure it is to meet you. I am Rosalie LeBlanc of Clan Toreador.
The pleasure is all mine. I'm told this is truly your Elysium, and you have made a wonder of it. I'm Johanna de Grimares, also of Clan Toreador, though not succeeding quite half as well as you, I think.
Give it time. And I'm sure you'll do most well for yourself.
I thank you for the kind words.
Likewise, although I cannot take credit for the vast majority of this place, it has existed since before I came to this city. I have simply taken it on as an additional project.
And yet I'm told by a reliable source that it hadn't nearly the impact before.
I would like to think I have done my part in adding a piece of myself to this place, as does every guest here.
Truly, to make art is a gift, but to make art out of existing greatness is approaching a miracle, perhaps.
I could not dare claim to create miracles. But
Of course.
the state of enlightened being is something all of us strive for among our clan.
Well, I thank you for the loveliness that you've brought to this place. Truly, it's a pleasure to be here.
A pleasure only matched by meeting such wonderful new faces as yourself. You see her focus shift to your gloves for a moment.
Johanna is a discreet sycophant. She's actually going to take that as something of a dismissal and drop another curtsy, which kind of...
Oh no, she refocuses on you. It's more like you see her eye kind of flicker over.
Got it.
So she's not dismissing you. You would know that because her eyes are still very much on you. It's just for a moment. Again, there's almost a look of distraction, split focus.
Got it. Okay. Interesting.
You see
So
to
sad
be
I don't know that the statues are new. Sorry, go ahead.
If I may ask, what brings you to this city? Perhaps someone as enthused with the arts such as yourself may make something of this place.
I meant only for it to be a resting place on the way to Jerusalem, but I think that there's quite enough here to keep me. At least for some time. So far, I find your fair city extremely accommodating.
I am grateful that you believe so.
Am I
You flatter
mistaken?
me. Oh no, you simply flatter me.
Flattery is
she takes the praise and lets it hang in the air with a somewhat modest smile on her face for a moment. Despite her pale complexion, and it is very pale, as stated before, marble white, she does appear to seem to have some sort of human function. She blinks normally, for example, albeit slowly. She appears to give very hollow, soft breaths. She appears to be moving. There appears to be some sort of energy to her, unlike many Canaanites here, who appear to, when not moving, almost appear corpse-like still. Perhaps there will be a time where we can discuss our own pursuits further, and perhaps I will be able to find additional reasons to keep you here.
I would enjoy that very much. And she will give her an address where she can be reached, or some sort of method of reaching her.
She will kind of, she will look at your address and you see her eyes scan it, and you can tell she just... Whereas when someone notes something in their head and you know they're just not going to forget it and you're not sure whether that's a good thing.
Okay, fair enough.
But you see her actually wave it off and says, "Oh no, it's quite all right." You'll assuredly find myself.
Johanna's going to kind of tip her head sideways slightly to see if she should be getting something out of that she didn't.
You have that ability to bring people to you.
Oh! Oh my goodness. Interesting. Okay. Can I perception empathy to see if that was a threat?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you. Oh,
Wow.
Our
Okay,
eyes are on
it's not a
fire tonight.
threat. It's more of a sort of expectance, more of a of course you'll find me. Like she knows you'll find
fair
her.
enough.
As
Okay.
if she almost expected someone like you to walk up to her and expects you to do so again, because of course you would. It's only natural.
Of course.
You can't not. But it's not a threat. It's almost like it's almost like an in-plan joke.
Well, she's not wrong. Capiche. So, Johanna just smiles and drops another curtsy.
Oh, there is no need to humble yourself so much before me. She'll rest a hand on your arm very softly. It's not as warm as a mortal's hands, but it actually does rest at a fairly, surprisingly warm, one would say accommodating temperature.
Okay.
You may always find me at my domain, the Guild Halls. Have you had the pleasure of meeting my grandchild yet?
I don't believe I have.
He runs the finances of the place. He sees who comes and who goes. If you can find him, you'll find myself. Although I must apologize, I am often busy working, toiling away.
Of course.
Ever new creations to invent and design?
Oh? What is your art?
There is a sort of sly smile on her face. You would have seen it as you entered.
Truly, I can remember only one thing as I entered. I was so caught by the statue near the door. If there were other things about, I'm afraid I missed them.
I'm pleased that your eye can discern the important things within your surroundings.
It was your work. The statue is your work.
She nods slowly and humbly.
Of course, I should have known. Yes, I truly look forward to speaking to you at length. And perhaps seeing some of your other masterpieces.
I would be fascinated with witnessing some of your own creations if you pursue such things.
She smiles, and gives a humble gesture that is not necessarily very believable. My own art is a little more practical. And I mean that, unfortunately, in the basest way possible. It is more an ingredient than a truly standalone piece as yours are. But I'm a weaver of some skill. And the things that I make have been beloved of people with very fine taste.
I hope it meets the standards of our clan. And you can garner from that statement, even without an empathy roll, by the standards of the clan, she needs her. As she says, as have your manners this evening.
I always look forward to the chance to test my work against whatever standards are available, and perhaps learn from its flaws.
I'm sure these flaws can be refined in time.
She's actually going to roll perception or manipulation subterfuge because she has feelings about the flaws in her work. They're quite strong.
Da, 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 da. You said you feel things. Oh, that's beautiful.
I feel things subtly.
You feel things fairly subtly.
3 successes of subtle.
Hmm. Wow, I feel
Ooh.
like you get it. That's a really sad roll.
That's a really sad roll.
It's a really sad roll for
Aw.
her. But she's on fire. She doesn't need to roll empathy. She's great as she is. No.
So yes, of course,
Instead,
Johanna agrees with you entirely.
Yeah, you retain your poise as you've been trained throughout the decades. But as you do so again, you find her focus slip back down to your gloved hands. Why hide the tools of your craft, sir? She'll take one of your hands and she kind of runs a finger on the palm, almost analytically, out of childlike curiosity.
The palm of the glove.
Yeah.
Okay. Johanna is actually going to flinch slightly. But she lets her hand be taken.
She sees you flinch and then she shuts her eyes. You healed yourself fully before coming here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She takes her finger off her palm, but still kind of is there, just kind of very softly holding your hand, and just says, "I did not know your work burdened you, sir."
It's not my work. The answer to your question is very complicated, I'm afraid. It's, my hands are memorable in ways that, I prefer not to be remembered in many situations.
Perhaps a complication that can be unraveled for the betterment of your work in the future.
Perhaps. If I understood better the cause, I might be more willing to work on such unraveling, but some wounds we bear with old fondness.
Something I'm sure we can heal.
Are you? Are you a woman who likes projects, then?
She gives you a sly smile as if you should already know the answer to this question.
She does.
People fascinate me, young Johanna.
As they should.
And then you see her focus shift substantially. You see her blink, and it's almost as if, what? It's almost as if she has some sort of snap. Something happened. Like she noticed something.
Mhm.
The room appears completely normal to you. You don't need to roll on a nurse. Everything appears completely normal. Whatever she has going on, no idea. Says, I must apologize. I believe my duty calls to me.
Please excuse me. And have a wonderful evening.
You as well. Young Johanna, I hope I can see you soon. There's a sort of intensity to the word soon.
She just nods. And her nod is more of an acquiescence than an agreement. Like, absolutely. I'm sure that you will find me beating down your door. She doesn't say that. It's just in the body language.
Yeah, and you see her kind of very softly let go of your wrist and then your glove. It's almost, it kind of slides off in this very graceful, elegant fashion. And she again disappears unseen. Well, she doesn't disappear, but you see her blend back into the background.
Johanna will turn back to the room a little bit dizzy and
It was a trial having to resist her every step of the way.
and we'll look for Madeline to see if Madeline has engaged herself elsewhere.
Not at the moment, unless someone else has entered.
There is, however, well, there is a familiar face to both of you.
Oops.
You see him walking throughout Elysium. He appears to be looking at you. How long has he been staring at you? Because you look at him and he appears to have been staring at you the whole time. You see that kind of stern look on his face? You
I will
could
give him
swear
a
it's just
curtsy
ever
too.
so slightly disapproving.
He gets a curtsy as well. Maybe it's an apology.
Dear sister, I hope you're not getting too carried away.
Of course not.
I hope not.
How does the evening find you, Padre?
It is, well, I suppose. This place is curiously alive.
Did you think so too?
It exudes a dependence of sorts.
You said a dependence?
A dependence. He says it like a flaw.
Ah. She smiles faintly. I suppose you could call it that. Do you mind the pretty masks?
I find masks tiresome and overused.
Should I mind the pretty flasks? Flasks? Masks. Oh, wise one.
You would do well to see things for what they are, rather than what people want you to perceive them to be.
Hmm.
You conceive of yours of the person who created this place all over the building. It is arrogant. You see him staring at a mural.
She will follow his gaze and inspect said mural.
It seems to depict a story of sorts. Sort of old heroes tale stuff. You can tell what came before and what is now, if you are paying attention. What is old and what is young.
Hmm. Thank you for the advice. I look forward to paying attention.
Are you saying you're not paying attention?
I look forward to continuing to pay attention. Of course.
He gives you an approving nod. Emotionally muted as always. He's always been a gruff fellow.
Good.
Is Garland, where are you right now? You on the first floor, the ground floor?
Yeah, I'm on the first floor.
You can see stairways actually leading up to a second floor, so there's 3 floors to this building, but it's off limits for whatever reason.
All right. The main thing, because I did see the Toreador Primogen, I didn't really recognize the people outside of Madeline and some other person, but I did see her and just kind of noticed her as things happen at that moment. Because right now, Garland isn't trying to make himself too well known yet. He's more or less just kind of, when servants come by, he may have a small amount of small talk with them, take some refreshments. Only thing that he would do at this moment would be if he would look with his eyes to see if possibly the Princeton would be here. But if not, he would try to find the host.
Yeah, the host is about. She appears distracted at this time. You do see this guy in the crowd. No one else really sees him but you. To you, he sticks out and he just gives you a big toothy grin.
Oh my
And
goodness.
just slips back away into the crowd, chatting with his fellows that you recognize from his foul kind. You are, however, looking for the host, and you do find her. She appears to be wandering off. Outside of the Elysium, strange for a host.
Sorry, what was the last bit of information?
She appears to be walking out of the building. Which is a bit odd.
I will follow her, or not necessarily greatly, but more or less just kind of, just shadowing her where she's going.
Shadowing her, you're trying to sneak up? Or
No,
are you making a
just
presence known?
No, I'm just moving in time with her, trying to get to her.
Oh, you're trying to catch up to her so you can say hi. Okay. You catch up to her, and you're Bruja. You're pretty loud. Your footsteps are loud. Your tones. She kind of spins around again. This time her focus appears much less. Her focus is again split. More overtly this time, like you caught her trying to do something else. Like she was obviously going somewhere, and you've kind of caught her in the middle of whatever it is she was doing or going to. Hello, can I help you?
I just wanted to thank you for this lovely event today.
She will curtsy. And will say, "Why, thank you. You're another new figure within this Elysium. But I believe I know your name. Garland, was it?"
He bows his head as like it seems my reputation precedes me.
She eyes off to the side. Yes.
Well,
Is there anything you require of this Elysium this evening? I do apologize. I'm in quite a hurry.
no, I wanted to at least tell you this before you leave. Have a good evening, my lady.
Yourself as well. And she will spin around and get back to going wherever she was going. Where's Gerard while this is going down?
Gerard has not yet arrived. Do not presume that he has arrived, sir. He will arrive when he is ready.
It's true.
Then,
The Venture does not wait for Elysium. The Elysium waits for the Venture. Wait, no.
Exactly. Move on.
when the Primogen leaves,
She heads out
recognizing-
the building. You
Yeah.
don't know for what purpose. She seems to be looking around for something. Do you continue following her?
No, I am going to respect the fact that she says she was busy and go to a figure that I recognize, Madeline, saying that she's here. And
Oh, I was muted. Right, I am back. Madeline has just, she's, at the moment, she's just having some small talk with some people at the Elysium, as far as you can tell. She will just notice you and just say, good evening. Good to see you again.
evening, Madeline. Turning over to see, is it Janos or Yana?
Johanna?
Johanna. Seeing,
She'll head that way.
She's with Mental Guy.
Oops, sorry. She's not heading that way. She's talking to the mentor.
I mean, he kind of dismissed you, so you're fine.
oh no, if she wasn't nearby, then I don't see her. I guess I just focus on Madeline. Then.
So, tell me. You have shown interest in learning what I can teach.
Yes, of course.
If you are willing, I will show you much more. This has to be done in a different position, and we should discuss it more before we proceed, of course. But what I can show you is not invisible. You should know this before you start.
Garland seems not necessarily taken aback. He's just kind of listening to her words. Oh, if you feel that would be best for the lessons you wish to teach me, I will oblige.
You are such a competent gentleman, accommodating gentleman. Well, I believe the two of us should meet at a private setting, and I will discuss further our views. For now, please enjoy this evening and all that it brings. Do you find this place agreeable to yourself?
It is well crafted. As he kind of looks at the architecture, it's definitely beyond my skills.
Hmm. Well, you will still have a lot of time to learn. Although this is a masterpiece of the Toreador, they are somewhat blessed by their blood, as most would say that.
Uh, he nodded at that. I'm I'm curious if this was highly instructed through rules, if they wanted for efficiency, or they did take the time per night to construct such a vista for us.
Hmm. I am sure you can find out.
I'll
Oh.
join that little conversation.
Mhm.
She'll come drifting back
Yeah,
once her
no.
mentor
And
is
at
done
this
scolding
point, Gerard will, preceded by heavy footfalls on the stairway, on the grand staircase, fully armored, unarmed, and whenever he reaches the top of the staircase, his entourage, who are his children, just sort of drift off into the crowd, as you do when you're at Elysium.
Hmm.
And he will scan the proceedings sternly, as he is wont to do, and then spots the little gathering of the stranger, Madeline and Garland. He doesn't know Garland, but he remembers the face that he tried to stomp into the curb.
Yeah,
And so
it's that guy.
And so he will make his way over in that general direction. He's easy to spot coming too. He's probably a full head taller than most of the people in the Elysium, and he's quite imposing.
Yes, Garland, recognizing the man who booted him that day after he was gutted, is put one of his hands in his pockets, fiddling with a coin to keep his hands occupied for doing anything they're not supposed to.
Oh.
Madeline will just take a couple of steps towards Gerard and just say, "Ah, good evening, Gerard. It is good to see you this fine evening."
Yes, it is a fine evening, Madeline. And of course, the pleasure is all mine as well.
Of course. I must say, I am quite pleased with what has been made at this old place. It is heavenly, do you not agree?
Gerard looks around and then simply looks back at Madeline with an even, measured sort of look and says, and just sort of grunts his agreement. "Hmm." Gerard then sort of glances off to the side and spots the nun.
Oh, I do not. Have you been introduced? Please allow me. And she will just follow the two of you and just, you're out of tour? Joanna. She is a neonatal Clan Dorian.
Oh
This
no,
is-
she's an Ansela.
And Scylla, sorry. Sorry.
It's okay.
Well,
If it was on
No,
purpose, I would
take it
have
back,
let it go.
sis. She insulted you. Well, for frenzy, no.
Ancilla of Clan Toreador. This is Gerard of Tours. Ancilla of Clan Ventrum.
She drops him a quite elegant curtsy. A pleasure to meet you.
Gerard bows very formally. The pleasure is all mine. Again, such pleasures are known to me this night.
Johanna's shadow disagrees.
That's
As it
fair.
lashes out at you.
Is it obvious?
Oh yeah, no. It suddenly erupts from its rather standing still position and just swamps you in darkness. You can still see it's just a shadow, but it dims you quite badly. You can see it kind of consume your own shadow, and it kind of conjoins to in some sort of malformed mess. You can see the rest of the Canaanites, particularly some of the known La Sombra, kind of give Johanna a dirty look. As
It's just
it
watching
kind of just begins
shadow.
spiraling, causing
Out of
chaos.
character, using observation to make it still, to make it normal, or conform to what I want it to, given the situation. Would that be a breach?
You're in Elysium.
So it would be. Okay.
Yeah. You could, but it's Elysium. That is your choice.
No. She wants that. It's just, given
It's
the
an
situation.
irritants. It seems to revel in the freedom. It appears to mock Gerard and Madeleine especially, and seems to join the two shadows in hands. It's
Gerard
rather
looks down.
adorable and disgusting.
Gerard looks down with one of those, like, tilt of the head, like I'm giving it side eye while looking down sort of looks. And then looks back up at Iana. And then slowly cranes his neck towards Madeline. Stone-faced. But it's as if he is looking for explanation.
It is something me and Ulrich have already been privy to. It is, well, a problem we are looking into. Perhaps we may be able to solve this thing. But for the moment, we're still looking for a way to remedy this situation.
It curses.
Gerard cranes his neck back towards Iana.
Johanna, your shadow begins walking off.
when he
This
begins
is very
walking off.
visible, right? Like,
She just kind of, oh yeah, very visible. She just kind of gestures towards it, like, there it goes. What are you gonna do?
It's some of the neonates appear to be quite frightened by it.
It's terribly ill behaved.
Yeah, no, it's actually causing some people to panic a little bit at this point because it seems to be lashing out at people to the point of actually causing a real emotional distress to them. Obviously, these people appear to be quite young, these canites, but some of them are kind of chased off by it. It gets to the point where the group of you kind of left off in your own little corner as the community of canites at this Elysium seem to give you a bit of a wide berth, Johanna in particular.
Forgive me, I need to go stand closer to the light, I believe.
Which is quite all right.
It
They will have to learn in time, sooner rather than later.
Yeah, one person who is obviously not faced as your mentor, who has not even stood up the entire time this has happened. He just stands there, looks at your shadow. The shadow doesn't even particularly seem intent to bother him, perhaps because he knows he can't really get a rise out of him.
It would be extremely ill done of me to teach them such a lesson in Elysium, though.
The shadow beckons you to do so.
She's going to try and find a spot where she's lit as well as possible from all sides, so that she has very little shadow to offer it to go scare people with.
Yeah, there's less of it now, rendering it less able to do things, but you're also kind of in the middle of the room now, and everyone's kind of avoiding you. You're in a bit of a weird situation because you're kind of literally in the middle of a room by yourself, and it's kind of everyone else is kind of just like it's kind of a rough, almost rough circle shape in a way. But there seems to be some people are just ignoring you at this point, especially. You can see some of the older canites, or at least they appear to be older. You see the son of Sean. He just appears. He just shakes his head at you.
That poor man. I'm just gonna point out that I'm a Toreador, and there's nowhere I'd rather be than the middle of the fucking room anyway. So.
Oh yeah, it's
I'm
just
quite comfortable
wrong
here.
kinds of attention, and some people have actually just resigned themselves to now ignoring you, which is even worse.
That's fair.
You're on a stage, and no one is watching, or clapping, or even booing. It's quite a miserable feeling. Especially since you're getting along so well with everyone. It's been thoroughly ruined. The shadow appears contented at its stage play this evening, and as you walk into the light, it retreats somewhat. But you can still see it shivering a little bit, obviously in a natural fashion.
Quite unfortunate, but Gerard, may I ask you a question that has not troubled me, but at least when's the last time you saw or heard of the Red Man making an appearance?
Gerard, sort of at this point, as he has been watching Ioana part the crowd, will slowly turn his attention back to Madeline. I wouldn't know. I've not yet seen him since reawakening, and I've been asleep for many years.
If I did not know better, I would say that he had left the city or gone to sleep himself, maybe.
What can possess you to speak the devil's name?
Who are we looking at?
You're looking at an unfamiliar figure. He is as wrapped up as he appears to be. His clothing, he's not armed. However, he does appear to have a few pocket, like a waist of like a tiny small like satchel on it. He has a few satchels on him, a few tools. He appears to be his face is largely covered. He appears to be quite decked out, as it were, not in necessarily a military fashion, but heavily clothed. Some of it looks padded. His trousers
How big
are
is he?
quite baggy. He's not as big as you. He looks up at you.
Yeah, Gerard will sort of turn slowly and look at him and say, "With all due respect, my lord, who invited you in on this conversation?" Or are you a lord? All are welcome in Elysium. There's plenty of places, or there's plenty of space to idle about,
But
not butting in on conversation.
I don't idle about, friend.
please,
Well, then you're doing a poor job of appearing otherwise.
Oh,
This is the man who's been asleep for the past 5 decades.
seeing
Yes.
this conversation devolve, Garland's gonna not necessarily intercede between the two, but kind of force his presence in between them, and says, "I think it'd be polite that if we're going to speak to each other, we introduce ourselves." And he points out a hand to the man. "I'm Cervantes."
I'm Nirav.
Pleasure to meet you.
Did you say
Yeah.
Mirav? Could you spell that for me?
Nirav. Neerav.
Goes, so, Garland says, "Pleasure to meet you, Nirav." So, and looking at his clothing, it's like, so you travel amongst the wilderness. Your clothes seem like you would do such a thing.
Do I look like a gangrel to you? He says that with like tenseness, as if like you're calling me a gangrel, sort of thing. No, I am from Clan Ravnos.
He'll actually not necessarily quirk a smile, but his demeanor actually brightens a bit, and he says, "No, you don't need to be a gangrel to be a pathfinder, but Ravnos." I was like, I haven't met a member of your clan yet. It'd be a great honor to hear about your people.
My people. That's an awfully broad topic, Hubrich.
Then if you wish for a more specific topic, maybe you can tell me more about yourself. And in time, I will do so. It's only fair.
Fair. That's an interesting word.
gentlemen, if I may interject, I am sure that Nibrad, was it?
Yes.
Well, my name is Madeleine, but something tells me that you might already know this.
You are awfully famous, as Queen and gods tend to be.
Thank you for those flattering words. But you seemed to react to my mention of one of the oldest citizens of this fine city.
Also,
One does not use the word the devil without having at least a good reason.
I have a healthy respect for those with the power to call themselves a god. When someone grows to that point, invoking them tends to have an effect.
I would agree. Which is why it is disconcerting that you do not know whether or not they are around.
That is because they perceive the same thing, things the same way that my clan does.
I see.
When you reach that point, how to say it becomes the nature of things becomes less relevant.
What an interesting way to put it.
I would say in his case it is even more so, since reality seems to be something he might have a special, well,
Relationship with.
yes, quite so.
Reality is rock, but he and many others have a chisel.
Or they just go through the rock without any care for its stability and seemingly stable and unbreakable nature.
They lack the capability to become a god of significance.
Quite philosophical, I must say.
They say responsibility, well, power brings responsibility, but it is often the inverse as well. Because reality is not linear, and how people operate is not linear.
Quite so.
It is chaotic. To perceive reality as stable would be ill-advised. You may find yourself unpleasantly surprised.
Trust me, my good Nivra. Recently, I have become acutely aware of just how fleeting and how limited our reality is. And she smiles very widely.
Can I perception empathy that smile?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
2 successes.
She seems almost proud of something she saw, heard, learned, experienced, read, who knows?
Mira seems to respond to this as well. Sorry.
It's hard to tell. I mean, obviously you can't see what, but she seems like she has learned something within like a fairly short amount of time of this time that she seems proud of, or would actually refer in some way to what he's saying.
Interesting.
Well, it is one word to describe it. There are quite a few others, but oh well. Harrowing, mind-bending, but such is not a talk for Elysium.
No.
No, it is not.
That is a pity.
I would consider that merely the projection of having some control.
Oh dear, if you don't talk about it, I fear this man's going to make fun of you again.
I'm merely trying to get to the last comment.
Conveniently, as you stand there and proclaim with such certainty that things are so uncertain, all, you'll be standing there with the rest of us, having done nothing about it. An illusion of control. An illusion of control is better than the illusion that you're right, with no power to control it at all. You're a bystander. Your input matters so very little to me.
Whether or not input matters to someone is largely irrelevant.
Much like your presence standing before me.
Yeah, oh man, that was pretty witty, I see. But my presence here was mandated by the invocation of someone else.
Oh, well, as I said before, there are, out of character, how many square feet is this Elysium? Gerard was here before and was keeper. He would know this.
Oh yeah, it's actually gotten larger since you've been here.
Okay.
You have to make up the number. It's large. This 600.
Yeah. the Elysium is X square feet. I'm certain that you can find somewhere to be mandated to stand away from me in that amount of space. The foyer is quite large.
That's irritable. It's almost as if you're trying to exert some degree of control.
It's no longer my Elysium. I'm merely stating the chaos that is obviousness. Where's that certainty? I'm not sure. Perhaps you should go ponder it elsewhere.
Oh, I'm merely a catalyst for other people. I already know my road.
Well then, I'm certain that it leads away from me.
Well, don't worry, I know where your way leads. It's the same as everyone else's on your road. It's quite saddening in a way. He actually, and then he just kind of looks at you with this almost like, not concern, but it's almost pity. But as you say, I have done my part. And that is enough to satisfy me. I give you about 10 minutes. He looks to Madeleine.
Weep for me if you must, but do so elsewhere, please.
He gives it 10 minutes. In what respect?
Exactly. What respect?
Okay. Madeline just she seems to just actually she stepped away a bit, and she'll just say she won't get into the middle of this, not at this point.
He'll kind of, as he begins to walk away, he'll say, "Destiny is a strange thing. Timing is everything to it."
You had so much time lingering in front of me to make a last word. I'm very disappointed.
That isn't how last words work, I'm afraid.
And he will deliberately not say anything.
Gerard will give one of those sort of like tap of the forehead salutes. But it's clearly very sarcastic.
Yeah. No, he will walk away from the group at this point, seemingly satisfied with the conflict he's sown, whatever it is he intended to do.
Madeline will just look at Gerard and just say, "Oh, that reminded me of quite a few things in the past. I must say, Gerard, I have missed you a bit."
Consider me touched. And he will turn and look directly at Garland and loom.
Garland has been messing in his pockets, and he does eventually pull out a coin, and he begins kind of dancing it through his fingers and doing basically equivalency of minor, just dexterous tricks between his fingers. But eventually gets to the point where he starts flipping the coin with his thumb and catching it back into his hand, just kind of doing it back and forth. And not really putting much focus into Gerard. But through his nature of his body, he is keeping himself square to him, so it's not like he's ignoring him, he's just not trying to pay attention to him.
I don't believe I caught your name last we met.
And once he says that, he stops flipping the coin, catches it in his palm. He goes, "It's Cervantes. Garland Cervantes."
Cervantes, yes. Allow me to express my displeasure in a way that is not my boot upon your face. Please never impose yourself between myself speaking with ever again. Please.
I felt that this situation was going to be more toxic than I expected. You show a great amount of control over yourself. I appreciate it.
You have not even the slightest idea of how much control I am exerting right at this moment. Again, would you find yourself in a place to stand between me and another as I am speaking with them? Do not put yourself in front of me. Should I roll intimidation on that? Anybody? Anybody?
To get the point across, yes, it won't affect anything I see. But
Okay.
to note how you are to the rest of the NPCs and how everyone kind of gets, presumably you're being quite expressive. A couple
Yes.
of people might hear you, yeah. So other people.
It's Gerard. Of course he's expressive. It's me insulting people. Of course he is.
Okay. -1 difficulty for Bruiser.
Yes, because he's not proved himself over you physically, and you are older than him, so your bonus definitely applies here.
What's the bonus?
I think it's wait 1 second. With Bruiser, I think it's a -1 difficulty. Who hasn't proved their physical superiority over you?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
-1.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I thought you were talking about like an age bonus or something. I was like, I don't remember that. But
No, it just emphasizes the fact how that merit applies in the sense that you're not only he not only hasn't demonstrated power over you, but you literally have power over him. 9, 6,
Okay.
7, 6, 6 successes. So you make yourself known in Elysium by. Not by mindlessly shouting down this neonate, but rather by making an example out of him. And that seems to garner the attention of some people in the room. Particularly the more traditional canons who are like, yeah, what is this whelp think he's doing sort of thing. You know, you see some people just kind of observing out of curiosity, but there are also a fair amount of people you've garnered who appear to be approving of your spiel, of your speech, and some people are giving Garland, particularly considering his reputation, a filthy stare. Even Johanna, your sire, you see he kind of perks up and looks rather intrigued by the neonate who supposedly has imposed himself between this Ancillon, and just shakes his head in disapproval at such a being. And then goes back to simply chatting away with an individual we haven't seen before.
And with all that done and said, Gerard will look down upon this neonate and simply say, "Now step aside, whelp."
I wasn't actually in his way. I was more talking in between them. That's actually.
Doesn't matter.
Yep, pretty much that.
You could literally be standing in the corner.
He's telling you to step aside. How do you react?
I don't know. Right now, I'm thinking about what my master would say.
Your master, considering your road and considering your master's road, this guy's above you. You defer to this person basically. Doesn't matter how stupid their orders are, or how correct they are even.
That is true.
You defer because they are your superior. End of story.
Yeah.
There are 2 places for people on your road, and it's either the master or the servant. And right now, someone is the master.
Garland just looks at Gerard, and it's not like he has necessarily a face of rebellion, like a look of rebellion, just more of contemplation, and he just kind of looks away from Gerard.
Does he not move?
Oh, I'm not actually in his way, and he's showing signs of submission with that. So that's what he's expecting. That's what he wants. Because for him, there's nowhere to go.
I mean, there's plenty of room for you to step aside. It's just not particularly practical for Gerard, because Gerard already has a place to move forward. He's just issuing you straight command.
Okay.
It's more of one of those, like, get behind me, peasant sort of things.
Yeah.
Then Garland would just, like I said, he'd just take a step to the side. Then
Gerard will nod and then make his way over to where, well, first he will look to Madeline and say, I apologize. I may have lost my temper.
Madeline won't say anything. She'll just smile, nod, slowly, and it just seems to. Yeah, she doesn't seem to react more than that.
Madeline, roll perception awareness.
What's the difficulty?
It's been 10 minutes. 2 bodies fall down behind you. Johanna, you get a message in your head.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, shit.
So,
Okay.
what is about to happen? Johanna, before this happens, you get a message in your head literally 10 seconds before this happens. You recognize it as the voice of Rosalie as she tells you not to panic for what's about to happen next. Remain calm, don't say a word.
Okay.
Madeline, 2 bodies drop down behind you.
Okay, I didn't notice anything.
No.
Okay.
Roll me straight intelligence.
Madeline will just turn around and look at the bodies. God damn it!
Do you want to spend willpower on that?
Yes.
You remember this has happened before. A really long time ago. Really long time ago.
Oh shit! When we were attacked in Elysium.
I was late on my payment, so I apologize.
Ah.
How she responds? Ah, how quaint.
Almost. Is he standing in the door?
No, he's standing right in front of you. None of you saw him.
Of course not. Madeline will just. It has been a long time. I have returned. It is good to see you still around.
There is a moment where he just kind of stares at you in a sort of curious fashion. The entire Elysium has gone curiously silent.
Just for those who may not know, there's standing a fairly large, completely naked man, completely covered in blood.
Yep.
And he's probably standing right in front of Madeline. And curiously enough, with the 2 bodies, Madeline seems. She's maybe tense, but she does seem to just look at him, and she doesn't seem too. Well, maybe she's just holding it together. Who knows? But she just seems to wait for a response from this guy.
Yeah, Gerard will turn, and he hears all this, right?
Oh, yeah, no, he just literally right in front of you.
Alright.
2
Gerard will,
bodies, what appear to be unconscious people.
yeah, Gerard will stop in his tracks as this
I do believe that
hulking.
the tax is no longer valid.
Oh, okay.
It has been some
Gerardo
time
just sort of.
since
Go ahead.
it has been some time since the Jerusalem was not under the leadership of the prince that demanded this tax. But oh, and you should probably know that I am not the seneschal anymore.
Nor I, the keeper.
No. You still smell. He sniffs the air around you. He kind of eyes you for a moment.
Who?
Madeline. Why did you walk away if you wanted to talk?
Well, depending on who you're talking about, I can only guess. Well, I might have wanted to talk, but
You did. He says this as if he knows.
Madeline just looks at him and just says, there are always times for talking, and sometimes we may want to talk, but we make mistakes, no? We would want to talk, but things get in the way.
That seems very arbitrary.
I suppose so.
Much like the nature of your appearances.
There's a moment of him thinking on this.
Seems so to the casual observer.
He responds to this with a somewhat blank stare, as if he doesn't really understand what you're trying to say to him.
Don't think too hard on it.
Okay.
Madeline just look at the two. I'm guessing that they're alive?
Oh yeah. They're alive. They're unconscious. They're not anywhere near close to waking up. Whatever the hell he's done to them is...
Oh well. And she will just say,
They don't appear beaten or anything, or wounded.
he doesn't need to. Madeline will just look at him and just say, well, I would not want to hold you, but it is good to see that you are still around.
I am. I just followed the smell back here.
What smell exactly are you talking about?
Roll me straight intelligence.
She's quite sure she knows what he's talking about, but she wants to hear his answer.
You want an answer from this guy?
trying.
You remember this happening a century ago when you dealt with those things. You remember he did this to you and he did this to both you and Auric. Same thing, different place, different time.
Yeah. Then she will just say, well, my dealings in this city have brought me to a place. You say that that this makes me smell a pleasant or an unpleasant smell, I wonder. I'm quite sure I know the source. And I know not to go back to it anytime soon.
Like you just died.
Hmm.
But you know better than that.
Thank you.
Won't you introduce me to your fascinating friend?
I'm not sure that
Madeline will just look back and just say, well, we can attempt. Joanna,
Sorry, what did she say?
I suppose we can attempt. We can make an attempt at it. She's
Got it.
essentially saying. And
Thank
she
you.
would just say, this is Joanna Trantoriano. This is the Red Man. And that's all she describes him as.
No, you gesture towards him. He's not really there anymore.
Oh.
He just kind of is now right up in Johanna's face.
Oh,
He's holding your hand. When did he hold your hand?
oh. She was okay. She
The
will.
glove is off.
Huh?
The glove
Oh.
is off.
She's going to offer him a gracious curtsy as long as he's holding her hand.
He's
A courtly
analyzing
one.
it. It is kind of rough, and it's covered in vitae
I was going
now.
to say,
This is kind of triggering your personality flaw. Can you make me a willpower roll, please?
Can I make you a what roll?
A willpower roll, because this you have a certain personality flaw, don't you?
Yeah,
You're gonna
and he
make
is
your hand.
covered in blood.
He's covered in blood, and he's analyzing your hand.
Current or permanent willpower? Current?
Permanent. Difficulty
Okay.
8.
So good. Mm-hmm. That stream.
Okay, you succeed. You almost have a panic attack. Not quite. You're still extremely uncomfortable.
the Red Man loves intimacy.
Yeah.
He says to Joanna.
He's literally just holding your hand and just kind of like roughly just kind of waves your hand kind of here and there to just trying to get a look at it probably. It's just so unsettling.
Seeing or recognizing this guy as a Red Man, knowing his own condition, Garland's gonna spend some blood to patch up his wound for a bit because he doesn't want to be weak around him. He could be hungry, but he doesn't want to be actually too weak where he can't respond properly if he notices him.
That doesn't matter.
I mean, just being in the city means it's already too late.
We all know he's weak.
But yeah, he just kind of like adjusts your hand and well, it just kind of holds it by the wrist and just like kind of maneuvers it with his thumb and just kind of, you know, effortlessly just kind of analyzes it. Says, why are you acting like you're dead? That's very odd.
She raises her brows at him. She's now standing as far away from her own hand as she can, though still holding herself with as much dignity as she could muster.
Mm-hmm. You notice
Gerard will actually look very intently whenever he says this at Joanna specifically.
Something relevant to note, your shadow is not, well, it's not that it's not moving, it's that it's cowering.
It's what? Cowering?
It's
Oh, good.
terrified. It literally looks terrified.
Perhaps you can explain your question a little better.
You seem like you prefer to be alive.
There are many kinds of life, I suppose.
Not when you pretend you're dead.
Do I?
Yes.
It's an interesting philosophical question, maybe.
No. Your mentor
No.
has kind of straightened up, by the way. He is looking dead-eye at both of you. This is the first time you've probably seen him actually properly intimidated.
Good.
He looks more shocked than anything else. I would just be honest. And then he just kind of drops your hand.
I have tried that route. I found it unfulfilling. But you seem to be a man of some persuasion. Maybe you can explain better.
He kind of, it's more like he answers around you rather than at you, as he just says, sin isn't life. And then just looks at Gerard. You still look tired.
There are not enough hours in the night.
No. He just kind of shakes his head.
I still have business with you.
He kind of stares at you blankly.
Gerard returns the stare. He's very good at staring.
About a minute passes. Okay.
Unblinking, unwavering.
Yeah. It's just this
Johanna's
look
gonna
of,
use their staring contest to pick up her robes and quietly wipe off her hand while they're both so engaged in one another.
there's blood all over it.
She would rather the blood was on her robes.
I'm sure you'll find me when it suits you.
I don't generally go looking. Careful what you read. As he says to Madeline, careful what you make. He looks at Garland. Do be careful.
Garland just nods to him.
But you do pay taxes.
He will turn back to Johanna as he just kind of goes round all of you, and then as he finally turns to Johanna, he'll just say, "Don't lie to me." He looks kind of upset at this.
Gerard will also look right at Johanna and say, "Of course he does. He's not a savage."
She's she's going to gesture to the two bodies. No?
What two bodies?
Oh, goodness.
They're alive. They're not dead.
Sorry, the two live bodies?
Madeline
What
will
two bodies?
cut in at
Or-
that. It says, a simple misunderstanding. It was...
You don't see the bodies.
Okay.
You
Johanna
don't
looks.
remember? They're gone.
Johanna looks shocked and a little bit pleased.
Joanna, I will explain later, okay?
Please accept my deepest apologies for the lie. She doesn't look particularly apologetic. She looks super intrigued.
You look back and he's not there.
Madeline just sighs lightly to herself and just, well, I suppose the Ravenous was correct. Speak of the devil and, well, or God or someone, and he will appear.
Madeline, you are aware that he literally arrived within 10 minutes of the Ravnos saying he would.
Yeah. That's essentially what she's commenting on, as she just stands there for a moment. And without rolling, you can also, like, everyone can see that she has a bit of composure, but she does draw breath and does take a deep breath out, meaning that she probably was a little tense at that, but oh well. She'll just turn to Joanna and just say, he probably believed that the old tax was in place, a tax that we paid to Jerusalem quite a while ago, but it is no longer an issue.
As you say this, Johanna, your mentor, approaches you along with an additional person.
Can I roll to have Johanna compose her facial expression because she has been enjoying herself much more than her mentor would probably approve of?
Oh God, your mentor will be so disapproving of this. It's unreal. Please roll manipulation substitute immediately to cover up your enjoyment.
Oh my goodness.
As I am so tempted to make you have a road check for just having fun.
By the way, did Madeline mention the Ravnos in his prediction?
Oh no, it's just a failure.
No, I don't think Madeleine mentioned that he. Oh no, she did say appears the Ravnos was right. Speak of the devil and he will appear, but she didn't mention the fact that it was literally within 10 minutes.
Okay.
Which is questionable because how would he know that at all?
But
Yeah.
no, just out of character wise, the Ravnos are known to somewhat be fortune tellers, especially with the ones that are the visors.
They're tricksters, largely, and illusionists. That's their reputation.
Madeline will.
You would have no idea of any Ravnos that calls themselves a seer.
Madeline goes over to the two, just curtsies very deeply, and just says, Hesperos, it has been some time. It is good to see you once more.
Ah, pleasure. Trouble seems to follow you in this city as always.
Why? We all take our burdens as they come to us, not as we would want them.
What the fuck was that?
Meaning, what you said, what you meant was, like, we take the hand we're dealt, not the hand we want to, essentially.
If nothing else, I suppose you could take it as a compliment.
Anyway, I suppose. Madeline will also greet the mentor of Joanna, and she will take her goblet and out of character. The player needs to sleep, so I will leave. But Madeline will be
Oh
just
yeah, no.
socializing.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
He kind of actually wanted to he turns to Johanna anyway, but he will bow towards you as you say you need to be on your way and think about things. He understands you just talk to the red man. That is very unsettling and strange.
Yes. All right. We'll see you around, guys.
Yeah.
Good night. So while Madeline is greeting the Hesperos, Johanna's going to actually turn to Gerard and to Garland and say, "Please forgive me a moment. My mentor," and gesture towards the oncoming Cappadocians and turn that way so that she's not just like ditching them, so that they can stay in the conversation if they wish.
Mm-hmm. The man that was called Hesperos bows towards you and says, "I am Hesperos, a friend of your colleague."
Did out of character, did my mentor mention his name? Should I recognize that name and his rank?
Yes, he did in your first scene. Your mentor mentioned towards Madeleine that he was looking for this man.
Okay.
He is, he is a fairly old Ancillor.
Okay.
And is, although in terms of philosophy, he is considered to be a mentor of your particular one.
Okay. She will drop him as deep a curtsy as she gave the Toreador Primogen then.
An honor to meet you finally. Johanna.
Truly. The honor is mine.
I do apologize for you having such a rough introduction to the city. The Red Man has not made an appearance in almost a century.
Truly. He seems very knowledgeable on many strange things.
You'll find it difficult to pry anything from him, however, he is convoluted.
I see. Perhaps the good father will vouch for me in that I'm not given to prying particularly.
Oh, see, I really don't think that's true at all, but...
It's not at all.
Okay, yeah, roll it. Roll your moonshade food, you filthy liar. Try to pass that off as honest, OC. I know that's not the truth. Yeah.
But she does prefer if secrets just unfold themselves to her and she doesn't have to pry.
You get 3 successes. I'm gonna roll this man 10 for him. Oh, you succeed. Oh, wait, no.
These are good to me tonight.
No, he has specialty. He succeeds.
Dang it.
He doesn't really respond in any way to it. You think you got it because he doesn't seem to respond to you in any way. He merely says, they were talking about the red man. He's convoluted, yeah. And you're not set to prying. He'll simply say, for that I would rely on your colleague to keep you as honest as he has so far.
He gives you politely.
He actually gives you a polite smile. He's more emotive than your mentor. He actually nods to you and gives you a faint smile and seems to be fairly amenable.
She smiles back graciously.
You seem to have gotten off to a strong start. That is beneficial.
I shall need all of my strength for the night's coming. And tonight I have met a new exemplar of strength. She gestures towards Gerard.
Gerard, my apologies for not reintroducing myself to you sooner.
Gerard will give one of those sort of like, I don't particularly respect you sort of bows, like kind of like a little bit of a half one. Sincere
It's a
than
kind of bow, yeah.
yeah, more sincere than is probably than he probably feels, but at the same time, less sincere than it probably should be.
Yeah, it's it's well mannered, but there's nothing really in it.
And he'll say, "Oh, Hesperos, how I have missed the desolate tones of a Cappadocian in my life, unlife."
I aim to please.
Clearly.
How does the night go for you? You seem to have been a victim of many rude interruptions.
As tends to happen when the rabble gather. It's in sort of a joking tone. As much as a joke as he can muster.
He tried, and that's what's important. And you're talking to someone almost as humorless as you, so it's fine. But he simply gives a kind of a slightly broader smile at your joke and says, "I'm sure things will quiet down for you in the nights to come. It always starts off."
I would not say that I wish for quiet.
Oh no, I'm sure it'll be quite busy.
Quite. Well, don't allow me to distract from the conversation at hand. He gestures to Yana, and he will depart without any other gesture deeper into the Elysium, well away from these three.
As you walk off, you see Hesperos turn to Garland.
Garland just meets his gaze, but he doesn't really say anything.
Leave us.
And Garland puts his coin into his pocket and just kind of nods his head, and he'll begin leaving the Elysium.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Garland. Cervantes.
He gives as he turns to her and bows slightly, saying, "Good evening, ma'am." And as Garland goes through past the threshold of the Elysium and into the streets, how close are the buildings together? Like just as in the general public?
The Elysium is very separated from everything else.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the street actually completely surrounds it.
Yeah.
No,
Not to mention every building literally pales in comparison to this thing.
no, I'm just seeing if the buildings are close enough because occasionally Garland will do rooftop running, but if they're not close enough, he won't do it. And just
You won't be able to do that from Elysium, and you are aware that you'd almost certainly be indicted for it if you were to try and jump off this Elysium to another building.
No, this is as in back into the actual public of Odessa.
Yeah, the buildings are closer together once you leave the Elysium, and you can do
Yeah,
some
he's not going to do
rooftop
anything like
running.
that. Yeah, he's not going to do anything like that in Elysium or on the grounds.
Keep in mind that would also get you into trouble with City Guard. Fortunately, actually no, there's quite a lot here actually because this is Elysium, so there's quite a lot of City Guard in the central market this time. It's been engineered to be that way. But more importantly, you put your penny into your pocket. You notice something that what was there that was you notice something, you feel something in there that was not there before.
I feel what exactly?
You feel something in your pocket, like parchment, like a note.
Oh, like in my pocket?
Yeah.
I'll go through my pocket and kind of flip the parchment open and see what it says.
I'll piano to you. As you take a quick read, there you go. That is what you read. You have academics, right? You can actually read.
Yes, I do have academics. I can actually read.
You can read. That's good. Otherwise, that would have been an awfully pointless endeavor, and the person who did that would be very irritated. Yes. That's what you get to leave. Hesperos turns to Johanna as he just shoos away the bourgeois and he runs off. My apologies. I was just wondering if at some point we'd be able to arrange a meeting together.
My lord, it would be an honor.
Excellent, excellent. When is the best time for yourself?
She will give him an address as she did the Toreador Primogen and say, "Let me know your convenience and I will make myself available."
Fantastic. I will make sure not to waste a gesture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Faint smile.
She glances at her mentor briefly to see how he's doing.
Your mentor is still a bit. He's trying to remain muted, but he still appears a little bit troubled by what's happened. He's obviously less familiar with this than Hesperos is.
Got it. Okay. She was going to keep her hands tucked in her skirts as much as possible. But that will be her only...
Not trouble you too much.
He said, "I hope the red man didn't trouble her."
Yeah, I hope that did not trouble you too much.
I had a little warning.
Good. He is, from what I hear, extremely old.
That would make a great deal of sense. Rumor has it he's the only one who knows, or who might know, what happened here when all of us disappeared from the city.
It is only possible that the one person that survived to be the one individual least capable of making sense of it.
I see.
He seems a little bit annoyed at this rather obvious truth.
Fortunately, I don't like to pry.
Of course. He knows.
And yet he's still capable of civilized conversation. Relatively civilized conversation.
I would not call that civilized. He was imparting words. He paid. Yes, Johanna, you know your mentor well enough to say when he says something specific, there's always a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Imparting words. As in to say, not a message.
Do you think?
Yes, Johanna, I would hope you know what I think.
Forgive me, Father.
He did a joke.
She knows, and she would not embarrass him in front of this other Cappadocian by acknowledging his joke. Oh my god. I wasn't ready for Cappadocian jokes.
The most humorous of all clans, the ones who are the most emotionally stunted and least mortal.
It's a pity that one who seems to know so much should be so little interested in imparting then.
It is the way of the Cassandras.
The what, Father?
The Cassandras. The Cassandras, sorry. The nickname for the Malkavians. One of their super.
Oh, got it, okay. Oh, ooh, got it.
Also called lunatics. Cassandras is one of the kinder, more polite terms for them.
That makes sense.
Oftentimes they can be invaluable. Other times they can be too consumed by their own precognitions. Diverting companions before they charge forth into madness.
I did indeed find him trying, but I regret that he's also concerned you.
It is not what I expected when I first heard his name, but I suppose that is part of the course of the Malkavians.
Is he close with, oh shit, what's her name? The Lady
Madeline.
Rosalie?
Rosalie.
Sorry, she would say, is he known to be close with the Lady Rosalie?
The red man is close to no one.
No?
He simply exists.
I see.
And once in a century, maybe 2 or 3, he will appear for some given purpose that is unknown to the rest of canine society at large.
I see. And she will glance at Hesperos and say, does he unsettle you too?
What unsettles me is what he might be trying to tell us. That we are not understanding. But then again, you often find Malkavians trying to tell you many things, all of which will not be true.
That sounds exhausting.
That is but your first taste. If he has spoken to you, then it is likely he will do so again at some point. Careful what you read.
What I
wonder
read?
what that means.
Is that what he said to Johanna?
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
Tell Garl, just be careful.
I know. It made me happy.
And told Gerard to be careful what he makes.
Oh, I thought he told Johanna to be careful what she makes because she's the Toreador. Careful what you read. Got it.
Careful what she reads.
I'm not entirely certain I can follow his good advice. I do quite a lot of reading these nights.
I would encourage that pursuit.
She bows her head in, like, accepting that as a compliment.
You're not wrong. He will, however, begin to distance himself a little bit as he says, my apologies, I wish I could stay for longer, but I believe my Primogen wishes to speak with me. You haven't had the Primogen at all.
Okay, fair enough. She will kind of give a curtsy of farewell and like a please excuse me sort of gesture.
Yeah, no, he will bow towards you and you two will separate, leaving you alone with your mentor. He simply appears to nod an affirmation at Hesperos.
Who what?
Who just nods in affirmation at Hesperos. Yeah. And is there anything anyone else wants to do in this scene?
Nope.
In which case, I believe we can end it there. As Johanna stuffs her bloody hands into the pockets of her dress, ruining it because she is terrible. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you next time.